American football in Finland.
The voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purvis, and this is American Football in Finland. Today, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Coach Q and Chris Green. What's going on, fellas?
What up? What up?
What's up?
The AFF podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast, and you can see us visually here on YouTube. Wherever you listen or watch, be sure to subscribe, follow, and like us. Anyone who listens but doesn't hit that button, we know you're a hater, but that's okay. We're going to get on with the show anyways. Calling all youth football players. Are you ready to shine this midsummer? Join us at the AFF Nordic Challenge, June 18th through 21st in Helsinki. Showcase your skills to USA college coaches, train with some of the top coaches in Europe, and compete in one-on-ones. Get insider tips at exclusive recruiting sessions and seize international opportunities. You can even win big with camp-sponsored prizes. Space is limited, so register now. Okay, so Maple League, back in action this week. Thursday, we got Porvoo Butchers versus the Loyal Crusaders. Then the Helsinki Wolverines take on the Wassa Royals on Friday. And we'll finish the week up with Kuopio Steelers and Seinäjoki Crocodiles on Saturday. So let's look into each one of these matchups. First matchup, we have Porvoo Butchers versus the Loyal Crusaders. Q, what's the interesting storyline or question for you in this one?
I need to know if the Butchers are really serious about repeating. This game right here will be very important. It could either be another loss, obviously, or a win to start something new, to start over. But at the same time, it's a question for the Crusaders because they could beat Porvoo. I really think the way that Porvoo's playing offensively, if some kind of way the Crusaders can get up on them, a few touchdowns or even 2 touchdowns, I think that's going to put Porvoo in a bad situation. So I need to know what Porvoo team is going to show up to this game. Defensively, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll show up on that side of the ball, but offensively, I don't think that Porvoo has been consistent enough to say, you know what, this game is going to go easy for them, or they're going to get it going this game, because the Crusaders have now showed some life. They showed they can put some points on the board. So if I'm the Crusaders, I'm feeling pretty confident about playing the Butchers this week.
What about you, Q? I mean, Chris, what are you thinking for storylines or questions from this one?
Can the Crusaders upset the Butchers? This is what I'm going to say, because we know the Crusaders' offense is good. They're playing at a good level right now. They played well last week. Hopefully they can repeat that again this week, so it poses for an interesting matchup. But their defense is terrible. So if the Butchers can't score on this defense, then they've got a real problem on offense right now, because we know they had struggles last week, a few drops here and there, Brandon running for his life. If they can't do a good job against this Crusaders defense, then they're going to struggle to beat any of the good teams. They've got to try and get the ball rolling here, but I could see the Crusaders upsetting them. I really could. If the Crusaders play on offense like they did last week, I could see them coming out with a victory here. So can the Crusaders upset them? That's my question.
Well, based on what you two just said, I'm going to have a question for the Porvoo Butchers. Can y'all get some respect on y'all name? Because these two Billy Bob guys I'm talking with, they talk about y'all going to take an L out here, guys. And, I mean, that just – I would really hope that the Butchers hear or see this, and if other people have the same thoughts, like that's gives them some type of motivation. And that's what I really want to see this weekend. Are they going to go into this game like, oh, we're just trying to win, or you're trying to prove something? I really think you need to prove something in this game. If you beat the Crusaders and it looks like they could have beat you, you didn't prove anything. You just beat a team that you're more talented in. And we all can agree that the Butchers should be the more talented and the better team. But I think what you two guys are saying, and I'm not going to go as far as say it, I'm just going to let it, be unsaid, is that the Butchers are beatable by this team. And I would take that as huge disrespect, Butchers. And I think y'all should take it as disrespect. And I want to see how you respond to that disrespect in this game. And one crazy thing about it is I know we're saying it here on the podcast, but if we're saying it here on the podcast, that means there's probably a lot of people that are thinking it. So it's not like they're just coming out with some random like this. That's not a weird take. Like it's not like a bold take that either one of them just said. It's a very logical take for a team that's 1-3 and hasn't really shown themselves to be able to put up a lot of points this year. So let's go into matchups. Q, what are you thinking for matchups in this one?
If there has to be one, I would say Brandon Gwinner against the whole defense of the Crusaders. That matchup. Brandon Gwinner probably can get out and run and use his feet to the advantage against this defense because they don't tackle well. Like I said earlier, they just don't have the guys though, And when you dealing with that and guys that don't tackle well, then big plays start to happen when they shouldn't. And I think Brandon Gwinner, knowing the competitor that he is, I think he'll take a lot of this game into his own hands. And if the Crusaders can't tackle, then it's going to be an issue. The Butchers' offense will look exciting. It will look, like we normally see it if the Crusaders can't tackle. So I think Brandon Gwinner against their whole defense. It starts with him. It ends with him. And I think if they want to make a statement or if they want to show people like, hey, our record isn't a definition of who we are as a team, I think this game will be it. But it has to start with him and what he does against this defense.
What about you, Chris? What's a matchup you're looking forward to in this one?
So my matchup is going to be the Butchers secondary against the Crusaders receivers. So the Crusaders coming off a good high passing week. So can this Butchers secondary step up and stop this passing attack of Bryce Messina and Sophocles and the rest of the guys that they've got down there? Because this is key for them. This is a key game for the Butchers. It's a must-win game. They have to win this game. If they want any thought of making the postseason, they have to win this game. They can't afford to slip up here. And the only way I see them slipping up, potentially, is through bad passing defense. So I think the DBs have got a challenge against them. And I feel like this is probably going to be where the match is won or lost. Because these receivers, we know what they're capable of now. Can the DBs stand up and can they take them on and stop this passing attack that we've seen from last week from the Crusaders?
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go a little bit different. And I'm actually going to go for Crusaders running back versus Butchers linebacking group. And basically I'm saying Moses Harris versus Timmy Nwika. I think that's going to be able to provide more of like field position. I think it's an important matchup. Again, I agree with you, Chris. I really think like the passing game is really going to determine like what happens. But I think for the Crusaders, if they're not able to be successful in the pass game, they've got to be able to move the ball. And I think the Butchers, they're going to allow them to move the ball, but Timmy Nwika could stop all that if he wanted to. And I'm really excited to see how he matches up against Moses Harris, who looked like he like 6'5", 280. Like, I want to see how that goes down. How does he tackle him? How does he bring him down? How does he slow him down? And if he does it enough, because I think the Butchers' defensive line is okay, but their starters get winded very easily. They're not in the best condition. You saw last week they had to bring in the young Osavada brothers in the second half, and it looked like they were just bringing in new life. And I think that Moses Harris is the type of runner, he'll wear them down. And if he wears them down enough that they keep the game close, we're in that situation where the Crusaders could pull off that win. So I really want to see how the Butchers linebacking group does against that run game, because I think they're going to have to be the ones to step up and really stop the Crusaders and make them one-dimensional, make them a throwing team so you can defend them properly, opposed to letting them be able to run and pass against you. So that's what I'm going for the key matchup. Interesting aspect of this game, who's the home team? Is it the Butchers?
Yeah.
Is this their third game at home? gosh, these people get a lot of home games. I went to a home game in Portvue, and then they played again last week at home, and now they got the Crusaders at home. These schedules, you get like a month of home games. That's an interesting aspect, is that the Butchers have to be very comfortable right now. Like there's going to be a third week that they're at home. They're going to have a decent schedule. It is on a Thursday, though, so that could be a little different. But being in your home environment shouldn't be nearly as many fans on a Thursday night either, as compared to a Saturday and Sunday afternoon they've had before. But that's about all I got interesting wise. Let's move on to the next game. Let me do this. All right. Second game of the weekend, we have Helsinki Wolverines versus the Wassa Royals. Q, question storyline for this one. What do you got?
This is more so for the Wassa Royals. I think you go heavy on Alpha this game. you need a win. Boston needs to win, and I think this will be it for them. I think if you get the ball to Alpha enough, him personally, himself, probably will do enough for them to win this game. So it for me, if it's any interesting thing about this is Vasa can get that win and maybe try to get something going, get some confidence going, or get it back. The same confidence they had before the season. But Wolverines wise, their effort is there every week now. It'll be interesting to see what they try to add to maybe add a little more offense to them, because they'll need it. Defensively, they'll have to deal with Tom Slosky. They're gonna have to deal with him. And I think that's gonna be a long day for the Wolverines defense. So Alvin Reels, D. Lou, they're gonna have to come. D. Lou's gonna have to help a lot in the box, because I think Vasa will run the ball a lot, and they're gonna get the balls in Alpha hands. So the Wolverines, how they react to that will be very interesting. I think D. Lou will probably be following Alpha wherever he goes to try to help stop him have such an effect on the game. But I think that's impossible. I think the Royals are just due for a win, and just so they're playing the Wolverines, and they're a lot better than the Wolverines right now. And I think that that'll be a tough one for the Wolverines. But I think Wassa and what they do with Alpha this game will play a very important part on them winning the game.
What about you, Chris? What are you thinking for this one? Storyline or question?
My storyline is the battle of the winless. Both these teams 0-3, both searching for their first win of the season. So it is the battle of the winless. That is the storyline. Mm-hmm. Let's see who can get that first win.
I'm just going to steal your storyline and say, yeah, battle of the winless. Somebody got to win this game. I'll be honest. I don't care. But somebody got to win this game.
But somebody got to win.
I'm done talking about both of these teams. These teams, yeah. All right, moving on to the third game. Kuopio Steelers versus Seinäjoki Crocodiles. Finally, something that we really can talk about in this game. Chris, I'm going to let you go first. What's the storyline or question you got for this one?
Who's top dog?
Ooh.
Two very strong teams here. We've got I said it on the last episode, like the Steelers and the Roosters are probably the two best teams in the league. You've also got the Crocodiles as well, so they're the three best teams. So who is top dog? This could be a real early sign to see who is going to be kind of competing for that number one seed this season. It's an important matchup early on in the season, because you want that number one seed because you want the easier, because that number 4 team is probably going to be not cutting it. We've seen from the Butchers, if it's going to be the Butchers, the Royals, the Crusaders, who is going to be in that 4th team spot. We know they're mediocre. So if you're the 2nd or the 3rd seed, you've got a tough semi-final against either the Roosters, the Crocodiles, or the Steelers. So it's a tough semi-final draw if you're the 2nd or the 3rd seed. So it's really important for both these two teams to get that top spot. So it's battle of the top dogs here.
So if What if one of them loses it? Can we just say they tanking and trying to go to the fourth spot? So if you lose, you might as well just keep losing and get to four. Ain't no point in being second or third. It's ridiculous. We should just lose two in a row. But Q, what about you? What's a interesting storyline or question you got for this one?
If I can sum it up, I'll say they're pretty matched up pretty equally. They both have imports. They both have receivers. They both have guys that can make plays. But I think O-line play would be very important for both these teams. Both these teams are going against D linemen that can cause havoc, have been causing havoc. They will get pressure. The Crocs D line, you know what they're dealing with there. So this will be a real trench heavy game because one has a running back that's just pretty much unstoppable in some cases, and the other one right now has a quarterback that is hard to deal with. So both defenses will be tested. I think this will probably end up being a shootout. Just because I feel like we know what Corpio is going to do in this game, and they're going to test these Crocs DBs. And I don't think the Crocs DBs have been tested like they're going to get tested this game. I just personally feel that way. So I think O-line play, the trenches will definitely be important in this game because both teams have good D linemen, both teams have good O linemen, and I think that's where it's won because one offense thrives off the quarterback having time. The other one, the quarterback doesn't have to hold it that much. He has an option of giving it to the running back. So it'll be interesting to see the approach that both teams take to this game because it's such an important game. And one team, I think, is hungry right now, and that's the Scorpio Steelers. I think they're just hungry. And the Crocs, not to talk about last year or whatever, but I don't want to get too wound up on them right now because they'll let me down. But I don't want to take away from what they're doing this year. They've earned where they at this year, just like they did last year. They've earned it. They winning. But coming into this game, I think Scorpio right now is the hot team coming into this game, though. So
I'm gonna change my. I'm not worried about the storyline. I got questions. And I'm gonna ask you guys questions. First question: who do you think has a better offensive line, Kuopio Steelers or the Seinäjoki Crocodiles?
Scorpio.
Q, you can answer.
I think Scorpio does. Yeah. When I look at it, if Josh Taylor moves around, a lot of the time it's because he wants to. Not really like he's just giving his receivers time to get open. But I think he's not worried back there right now. I think Christian Anthony, he does have time, but a lot of times he is on the run from pressure. So I think Scorpio, for what they do on offense, their line is better for what they do on that side of the ball. Because running is their second option. You know what I mean? I think the Crocs running is their first option. And that has to be going. Christian Powell has to be going in order for the Socklers to do what they do. So I'm going to go Scorpio. I think Scorpio has a better O-line right now.
What about you, Chris? What are you thinking? Damn it, Chris. What are you thinking?
It happens all the time when you're asking me a question. Like it's like, what's going on? Don't understand. I am going to say I think the Steelers' offensive line is better. I'm going to agree with Q. I feel like we haven't really seen much of them in the run game. But pass protection wise, they're so good. Like he's almost untouched all the time, Josh. And I think he moves around the pocket really well, which complements his offensive line and it helps him out. So yeah, I just feel like the Scorpio Steelers, they've got big size as well. I just feel like they're a more complete offensive line. Let's say that. I feel like they're a more complete unit.
Okay, and I got one more question. My second question is, who do you think has a better secondary out of these two teams? Because I believe both teams have better receivers than the other team's secondary. So who do you think has a better secondary group out of the Crocodiles and the Steelers? Chris, you take this one first.
Again, I think the Steelers edge it. I think their corners are better, definitely. I think the Crocodiles' corners are just not as good. Same with the safeties. I think Steelers. Yeah, I feel like they're the best. I don't think there's much in it. I think it's much of a muchness. It's almost a push if you were playing blackjack like. But yeah, I would say probably the Steelers should slightly get the edge for me.
Okay, what about you, Q? What are you thinking?
Well, being as though the Steelers just shut down the best receivers in the country, I'm gonna say Corpio has the best DBs. Just from that fact alone, right there. Just from that fact. I didn't think I'd ever see the day that somebody would stop the best receivers in the world. I never thought I'd see
He give you receipts.
I see.
I never thought I'd see the day, but I seen the day. And Scorpio Steelers have the defense, they have the linebackers, they have the D-line, and they have the DBs with confidence. I think the Crocs have the D-line. They have good linebackers, but that secondary has been hitting because of their front seven being so active and so good all these games. I think they'll get exposed this game. I really do. I think the Crocs secondary will get exposed. They haven't needed to because their front seven has just been putting their work. But there's been times during the season where we've seen them get beat. They just didn't, finish the job. But I think Scorpio leads in that too.
I mean, so just
Coach Q out here, Coach Q out here, not giving a crap about this 28-day return policy on these receipts. He
do not care. Right? Look, man. I've had a tough weekend. Okay, I was wrong on my pick 'em. Everybody was in my DMs, and then Q jumped on me on from last year. I haven't forgot. I picked the Butchers to win the thing. I can't wait till we do our mid-summer, re-picking because I gotta
be at 5.
Yeah, I gotta get some stuff straight. But basically, I just kind of went over kind of what I already thought was kind of like the key matchups in this, and just kind of surmising what you guys are saying is you're feeling that the Steelers are just a little bit better than the Crocodiles in most categories, right?
Yeah.
Except for the obvious one where, Christian Powell's the best there ever was. But so what I'll do instead of doing like matchup is let's try to find where you think the Crocodiles could make the biggest difference in this game if it comes down to it. Like, tell me something that you think an area or aspect of this game where they can make that difference up between these two teams. Q, I'll let you go first.
I think the Crocodiles can win this game if their D-line gets pressure on Josh Taylor. If Josh Taylor doesn't have time to look to go through his reads, he doesn't comfortably sit back there and make throws. I think.
But tell them where to blitz from. Tell them where they got to come from. Like, because the Butchers did it wrong.
Y'all want that now?
The Butchers did it wrong, right?
The Butchers did it wrong. The Butchers decided to blitz up the middle. When they did switch it up and blitz on the outside, they did get some pressure. And that is the only way you can stop a pocket quarterback. I'm not saying Josh Taylor is a pocket quarterback. What I'm saying is he makes his best throws from this easiest throws from inside the pocket. If you want to stop somebody like him, you have to blitz him from the outside, cause him to step up in the pocket and make throws. Let your DBs make plays, but what you can't do is run up the field and allow him to run sideline to sideline, out of the pocket, look downfield, because that's where he's going to hurt you. So if the San Diego Crocodiles want to have a chance in this game, a chance of disrupting this Scorpio offense, they have to blitz outside. Maybe you don't get the sack at first. Maybe you don't get the sack, but what you're sending is a message to say, hey, he has to step up in the pocket and make throws. That's what you want to do. Yes, he's a great passer, and you're taking chances, but I would rather him step up and have to step up into my other D lineman and throw the ball rather than him running outside the tackle where he can either run or pass, and then that puts you in an even worse predicament. So, yeah, if the Crocs want to have a chance to win this game, their defensive line and linebackers have to sell out on getting Josh Taylor to step up in the pocket.
Chris, what would your advice be for the Crocs?
I would say maybe run a bit of option because they've got a mobile quarterback. They've got a great running back. I would say the Crocodiles maybe see if you can run some read option or something, because I think you may find a hole, because the defense of the Steelers is very good, especially up front. Well, both these front sevens are very good, but I feel like you've got the better running back in the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Use that to your advantage. You've got a quarterback who can run. We've seen it. He can run. He can pass. So maybe throwing some read option there. I'd like to see them give it a go and see if it works for them, because I think that could be a way that they could isolate this defense, and then from that run the RPOs and stuff, and get receivers open that way.
All interesting stuff. I don't have any answers. That's why I was asking questions. I don't have any answers. I'm exhausted. I don't have any answers. But I think you guys both brought up really good points about these two teams. I agree that I think it's going to be close. I mean, on the field wise, that's kind of what we saw last week as well with the Butchers against the Steelers. I think the Crocodiles are a little bit, I mean, obviously they're a lot better than the Butchers compared to the first game they played. But I do think that matchup wise, this is going to be a good game to watch. I'm very interested to see if the Steelers can get the Crocodiles offense off the field quickly. What we've seen in the last couple of weeks from them is a team that kind of wants to take their time, be on the field, and then have explosive plays kind of in drives. But they've shown in the second half of almost every game that they have somebody in CP that no one else has who gets better as the game goes. So you really just don't want to get into the fourth quarter and it be close, because that means he can do whatever he wants. They're going to give him the ball. But if you're the Steelers, you want to get ahead in this game so that when the fourth quarter comes, he has to become more of either pass blocker or receiver. And that's no slight to CP, but you would much rather him be catching passes than getting the ball from a handoff. And as well as you said, Chris, if they're able to run that read option or any type of option in the fourth quarter, you're going to be wearing down your defense eventually. So that's not what you want to do. So, again, I don't know how they do it, but if the Steelers can get the Crocodiles off the field early in the game and put up points, they'll be fine. But I think both teams are going to be able to put up points. I don't have a lot of faith in either one of the secondaries as a whole. We haven't seen much from the Steelers secondary as being tested per se. I know the best receiving core in Finland didn't really step up last week, but let's also be remembering that most of the time, a lot of the Butchers' offense it wasn't on timing. A lot of what they did, you had the quarterback running around because he had no blocking up front. So that defensive front really helped the back end because it allowed the safeties of the Steelers to make more plays, which is where their strength really lies. I know one of their corners ended up – no, actually it was a safety. It was Jonah Choate that got the interception for them. So, again, another safety that really made the plays. But the Steelers' corners, they haven't been tested. And no offense to the Butchers, they don't have a Yane Sarkula who can just climb the ladder, 6'4", all of it. They have not seen that yet. They haven't seen a red zone fade. They have not seen that all season. So there's a lot that the Crocodiles can bring to the table the Steelers defense has not seen and isn't really prepared for. They haven't seen this type of offense yet. They haven't really prepared for it, and there's no way to do it besides to see what happens in the game. So I think this game could go either way. I still haven't decided who I'm picking. But that reminds me, let's get into the picks.
Hey there, fans of American football in Finland. Want to show some love and support to your favorite podcast? For just €3, you can buy us a cup of coffee and help keep our podcast running strong. But why stop at one cup? Why not support each host with a cup? Visit buymeacoffee.com and show your support today. Cheers to keeping the conversation going.
All righty. Weekend Picks is presented by Ballers International. Are you an athlete looking for a community? Are you an athlete who feels alone in the process of trying to get to the next level? Join Ballers Members, a tribe for athletes in Europe with elite level mindset led by international legends Alpha Juice Jallo and Jock Crawford. Have a brother right in your backyard. If this is the community that you're looking for, DM Ballers International on Instagram at BallersINT. Join Ballers Members today. All right, so we're going to get into our pick'ems. And before, let's go over the rankings. First place, Andy B is undefeated at 12-0. And then tied in second, Coach Q, Chris Green, Coach Mike, all 11-1. Fifth place is Jamal Clay at 10-2. Sixth place is Swami at 9-3. And last place, tied for last, is me and Elliot 8-4. So obviously, picking the game's not easy, but we'll give it a shot. Let's go over the games. We've already talked about the games, so we'll just do the matchup and make our picks. And our picks will be available on Instagram at American Football in Finland, where you can make your comments. Coach Q, who you got, and then tell us why.
I'm going with we're going with Porvo first.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Porvu versus Loya. So you're going Porvu.
I'm going Porvu against Porvu versus Lawyer. Everything in me want to go for the Crusaders, but I think depth will be. I think depth is going to be a problem. I just think the Butchers are going to get it on track. I think them not playing well will probably still put them in a position to win this game. The Crusaders, offensively, I want to see them come out and really put some points up, but I think the lack of talent that they have as far as like in the secondary is going to be a problem against the Butchers because the Butchers just have so many guys that they can give the ball to. So I'm going with Porvu on this one.
Wolverines versus the Royals.
Wolverines versus Royals. I'm going Royals because I think Alpha the Juice man is just too much. Tom Sawosti, too much. Man, I think they'll just be a little too much for what the Wolverines can offer to stop them. So I'm going with the Royals.
Last game, we got Steelers versus the Crocs. Who you got in the big one?
Now, this is a hard one. This is a hard one right here for me because I think, like I said earlier, they match up well. But it's just something about Josh Taylor that I can't go against. I think he just has it. And I think he'll find a way to put them in a position where they win this game. Because I'm going with them strictly because they haven't let me down. So that's why I'm going with them. I'm going with Corpio on this one.
I ain't mad at that. That makes sense. You lucky. What about you, Chris? Who you got and why?
Yeah, he's going with the Steelers because he doesn't want to get atted in his DMs like you did last week.
Facts.
Might be true.
Don't at me. What about
comment.
you, though, Chris?
Don't slide in. Comment. Yeah, so first game, Porvu, Loya. I'm going with the Butchers. Again, with Q, I'm tempted to pick the Crusaders. I really feel like they could upset them. But I've got to go with my head here, and my head is with the Butchers. They're the better roster. They've got the better team. I think they're going to come good eventually. I think they've started off the season real slow, but I think this is a good game for them to come at a good time in terms of their schedule. So it's something for them to get back on track. I feel like the defense of the Crusaders is just not very good. And I think Brandon Gwinner is going to have an opportunity to pick them apart. So I feel like the Butchers are going to win this one just purely because of that. And I feel like the Butchers' defense is good. They're playing good football at the moment as well. So I don't think Bryce is going to have as much opportunities as what he did last week. So, yeah, I'm going with the Butchers for the first game. Second game, easy one. Royals. It's got to be. I can't see the Wolverines really getting a win this season. They've not shown me anything to think otherwise. Until they do, I'm going to keep picking against them, unfortunately. And I hate doing it because my boy Kevin plays there, but I mean, just as a team, they're just not cutting it. They're not cutting the mustard right now. And the Royals have got, like Q said, they've got Jallo, they've got Tom Swosti. Even with Theo Landers not playing his best football right now, I still think that they're the better roster. They've got the better team. So the Royals, for me, get this one. Now we get on to the most interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers and Crocodiles. I think just because the edging of the Steelers is slightly better on every position apart from the running back position. I feel like the Steelers are just more complete as a team right now. That's not to say the Crocodiles aren't going to win, because they could easily win this game. Either team could really win this game. I think it's going to be the most competitive game of the season thus far, including the Butchers game last week against the Steelers. So it's going to be the next competitive game this season, and it's coming right before the midsummer break as well. So it's going to put one of those teams slightly ahead and in the running to be top dog of the Maple League early on in the season before we head into the midsummer break. So yeah, I think the Steelers have got this one for me. Like you said, Josh Taylor just gets it done. He's got a great connection with Austin Brock. He's now getting the ball to Noah Choate as well. I mean, they're a good team. Like I feel like the Steelers they're getting back to the ways of when they were a championship caliber team right now.
Okay, all right. Well, good reasons. I guess for me, if I go for my picks, Porvu versus Crusaders. Gonna go with Butchers like you guys. They're just a better team. And this game could also be much closer than what we think. I think the Butchers have a much better roster, but the Crusaders they have an explosive aspect to their offense that allows them to get points. And the Butchers have shown time and time again that sometimes they're inconsistent offensively, which means we could be in a situation where it's close, and like what Q said, as the game wears on, that depth becomes the issue for the Crusaders. You know, when your best receiver is also your starting safety by the fourth quarter, that it starts to take a toll on them, and that type of stuff is going to happen in this game. So the Butchers will win overtime. Second game, Helsinki Wolverines versus the Wausau Royals. I'm going with the Wolverines.
Oh! Oh! No, you're not.
I'm going with the Wolverines. You know why I'm going with the Wolverines? I am. Because I have a Wolverines hat. I do not have a Wausau Royals hat. Therefore, I'm going with the Wolverines.
Now who's tanking? Who's tanking?
Because, like I said before, I don't care. I don't care. It's two bad teams playing. I'm going with the Wolverines. Maybe they win because I'm going for them. Who knows? Anyways, on to the actual games. Last game, we got Steelers versus Crocodiles. I'm going with the Steelers, definitely. I'm not picking against the Steelers. That's not happening no more. I'm not going out like that. Not going out.
Not 2 weeks in a row.
No, not 2 weeks in a row. I'm with you guys. Go Quopio. Hold on. Where's my hat at? Hold on. Go Steelers. I'm with you. But honestly, I do think we said it in this show too, is they're just a little bit better than the Crocodiles, and they should win this game, and that's kind of how we see it going out. One thing that we've noticed about them, they had some easy games. This last game, we got to see them in a different element. Things didn't go great for them. They won the game, but it wasn't easy by any means. But also, they still looked consistent. You still kind of could see them playing football the way they wanted to play. They didn't really change who they were to get the win. They just continued, and eventually it happened. I think that's what we'll see against the Crocodiles. I think that they can keep up their identity on both offense and defense and still win this game. For them to lose this game, and again, I guess you could say for the Crocodiles to win it, but I would say for the Steelers to lose this game, the Crocodiles would have to take something from them. They'd have to stop them from doing something, and I just don't think that's going to be possible this week. And again, we talked about it earlier with the Crocodiles. It's really Maple Bowl or bust for them. So whether they win or lose this game, they can still make the Maple Bowl. For the Steelers, like Chris said, this is a new era. They're trying to prove that they're a winning team. They have to beat a good team. And I think that that's what they're going to do this weekend. Is they're going to go and beat a good team, beat them soundly like they did the Butchers. and become the top dog. Is that what we're calling it? Top dog? Is that what
Top
we're calling
dog,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, top dog. They're gonna
Quote,
become
top dog.
top dog. Yeah, top dog. So that'll do it for the picks. All right, that's it for this episode of American Football in Finland. Any last words before we get out of here, fellas?
No, I just hope you guys, show up show up better than they did last week, and that's for all of them, And yeah, that's all I got for them, man. Just give us some good football.
Just, hey, it's another week of football. We're about to head into the midsummer break. Time to get a win. Like, whoever you are, it's now or never. Like, let's go. Some big games on the line here for some of these players. Like, Porvu, you got to get a win before the midsummer break if you want to make it to that playoff spots, early on in the season. Battle of the winless. One of you's got to win, so who's going to be?
Who cares? Who cares?
And then, yeah, Crocs and Steelers, battle of the top dogs. Top dogs.
Top dogs. Well, good luck to all the teams this weekend. We'll see you next week right here on the AFF Podcast. Make sure to subscribe, follow, like, and share on all social channels at American Football in Finland. Until next time, never forget
AFF.
We gone.
We go.